Today is all about double Irish chain. And this double Irish chain, not this one, was one of the first quilts I ever made when I first started quilting. Hello and welcome. My name is Angela Davis and I'm the 4am Quilter. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you've been tuning in, thank you so much. Hope you enjoy the video. It works up very quickly, it's very beginner friendly, and it's also wonderful as a novice to practice those basic skills in cutting and piecing and keeping an eye on your quarter and seam allowance. Double Irish chain is made up of two blocks, an A block and a B block. And the A block is this one that you see right here. Well, right here. Okay. The B block is this one right here. Oh wait, where am I at? Oh, here we go. Sorry. The B block is right here. Sorry. Here. The four cornerstones connect this part of the chain of the A block that helps that movement connect across the quilt, okay? That creates the chain effect. So it's made up of three colors, the red, the green, and the white. And this particular quilt, I wanted to be for winter and the holidays, but not necessarily a Christmas quilt. I didn't want any little Santas, nothing of that nature, but I did want it to be festive. And so I did choose the green and the red, and the red has little snowflakes in it. In the instructions, I give two measurements. I give the measurement for a throw size quilt, which is what I have here. I also give measurements for a twin size quilt, which is the next size up. This is 5 blocks across by 7 blocks down, which is approximately 50 by 70 inches. I haven't measured this yet exactly. I was too excited. I wanted to get it on the wall. I do that sometimes. So in the instructions, you have a little chart of how much fabric you'll need for what represents the red color, the green color, and then the background color. From there, in the box that gives you your fabric requirements and your yardage, it's going to give you number of cuts. And the cuts are based on finished 2 inches, which means your strips are going to be cut 2.5 inches, right? Because we always add a 1/2 inch to our finished measurement.
First, you're going to trim the edge so that it's nice and even.
So before I make my cut, this is what I'm looking at. Right here, this point right here, here's the 2.5 inch mark, and here, this line lines right up with the bottom of the fabric. And then this 2.5 inch mark, that cut lines right up with the 2.5 inch marks on my grid, okay? So that when I'm looking at this, I'm not just looking at the lines, I'm looking at the space in between the lines to see, is that fabric lining up to connect with the line above it? So there's a line here, there's the fabric, and then another line. Here's a line here, here's the fabric, and then another line. That's what I'm looking for accuracy when I make my cut. And now I'm putting my hand down like a spider and I'm depressing firmly. I pick up my blade, I engage it, I take my cut, I put it in the safety position before I set it down, and there it is, 2.5 inches.
nice and straight.
Notice how when I make my cut, I describe to you how to make that cut very accurately, because if the cut is done inaccurately, your strip will not be straight. It'll sort of look like a zigzag a little bit. So now that you've seen the parts of the video that show the strips, I continue to show the video where each row is a strip set. So in this particular block, you know what I'm going to do? I know exactly what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do for you. Okay, so here's block A. I think this will help a lot. It's a little crinkly there. There we go. Okay, so this is block A. And as I said earlier, block A is made up of 5 rows, this direction, with 5 squares each. We're not cutting squares, we're cutting strip sets. So row 1 and row 5 are the same. So you need to create strip sets for row 1 and 5. Row 2 and 4 are the same. So you're going to create strip sets for row 2 and row 4. And then there's only one row 3. That's its own strip set.
Once you begin sewing your strips together in your sets, you're going to press toward the green. I usually sew 2 strips together and then 3 strips together, press, and then sew the strip together in one unit. In this section, I sewed all 5 strips together, and now I'm going to press toward the green, and I'm going to start on the back and then flip it over and press on the front.
You'll notice during the video that when I'm pressing toward the green, okay? What I've realized is you can either press all in one direction to make it easy, but I decided with this one to press toward the green. And what that did is when I went to go attach it to my B block, when I lay my blocks out, my A next to my B, these seams are going to nest. These seams are going to nest really well. And these rows, when we cut them and put them together, these rows are going to nest much better. If you come across a seam that doesn't nest, that's okay. Go ahead and stitch it if they're going in the same direction. Nobody will know. As long as the majority of them nest, it'll lay nice and flat.
Now that the strip sets are pressed, it's time to cut, and we're cutting them in 2.5-inch strips. you'll notice that I'm going to line up that top strip with a straight line on my grid, and I'm going to trim up that edge to make that uneven edge nice and straight. Once I do that, then I can begin cutting my 2.5-inch sections. Once all these little strips are cut, it's time to line them up according to their rows. Row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, and row 5. Lay all your rows on top of one another, and now we're going to sew the rows together to complete block A. You can see here where my seams are nesting. And there it is, my first A block, all sewn together. Now I'm going to sew, or rather now I'm going to press my seams. I'm going to press down the center away from the center row. Then I'm going to press the two outside seams toward the center. I'm doing this on the wrong side first. Now I'm going to flip it over and press on the front.
Block B is made up of this square right here. Row 1 and row 3 are the same, and then there's one large rectangle in the middle, okay? And you can see in the video how I put those together. It's actually quite simple and it goes by very quickly.
Take two of the green strips and sew a green strip on both sides of the long white strip. Cut this strip into 2.5-inch little strips.
For this particular quilt, It's 5 blocks across by 7 blocks down, which is 35 total blocks, which means you're going to need, let's see, 18 A blocks and 17 B blocks to make up this quilt. Some tips along the way. What I like to do is I try to load 2 bobbins at once, and sometimes I'll just use whatever color I have on hand, as long as it's a soft color that won't contrast, especially when you're dealing with white. As long as you're doing a soft color, it will blend in with the dark, and it won't show through the white. So that's one of my suggestions. When you're dealing with some dark colors with white, just use a soft color neutral thread and you should be fine. I suggest 100% cotton. That's what I use because I'm using 100% cotton fabric. I knew when I started this quilt that I wanted to show you step by step, or at least give you a taste of each step along the way. And so in the pattern, I have the chart, which lists the yardage requirements plus how many strips you need to cut total for block A and block B. And then I'm hoping with each instruction, I gave you visuals as to what each set would look like. So I gave you a visual of what the A block looks like put all together. I gave you a visual of what the B block looks like all together. And then I also gave you a visual of rows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and what they would look like, so that you can see along the way each step as it progresses in the pattern. When I got to the point where I wanted to quilt my quilt across the middle, okay, through the single chain, through the red, I am doing a plain straight stitch, which requires my walking foot. Then when I get to the white sections in the B block, I'm doing it almost looks like a holly leaf with the little points on it. In the beginning, for the first couple tries, I used a template, and I used a fabric marking pencil to mark the design. But then once I did it a couple of times, it was almost like muscle memory. I could continue to do the quilting of the leaves without marking each block, because once I did it a few times, I felt confident enough to proceed without marking my block each time with the pattern.
And as you can see here, I'm just going to go ahead and mark the outside of my template for my leaf. And this is a washable pencil that I got from Joann Fabrics, and I did test a little swatch scrap of the white fabric in advance to make sure it would wash out. It washes out actually quite well. For this type of quilting, I'm using a free motion foot, and I've dropped my feed dogs, and I'm going to start in one position, and I'm going to take one stitch, pull up my bottom thread, and then I'm going to hold my threads and take 1 or 2 stitches in the same spot before I begin the stitching of the leaf pattern. I put my gloves on, and they have a grippiness to them so that it makes it easier to move the quilt underneath the free motion foot. And you'll notice my hand position. I have my fingers straight up with my thumbs extended out. And I'm just moving it along, following the leaf pattern and just adjusting my hands as I go.
Plus, it's a very basic pattern. It's not very intricate, so it was very easy to adapt. And I hope you enjoy that part of the video where I do the quilting. I also give you some tips on how I start and stop with free motion quilting. And I just hope you enjoyed that part of the video. So there you have it. I used muslin on the back, and it's just a cream colored muslin. And I used white on the binding. I attached the binding on the front, and then when I turned it on the back, I machine stitched it all the way around, and that way it just catches right there. If it's not in the ditch, then it just catches a little bit on the fold, which I'm okay with. And I used a white thread so that it would not contrast, so that it would match very well. And so basically it was all done by machine. It took me about 2 weeks from start to finish. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Hadn't made a double arch chain in a while. About several months now, 6 or 7 months. Wanted to do one again, especially in the red and the green for winter and to get us through the holidays. And I knew when I found the red in my stash, I wanted to do the snowflakes. Hope you enjoyed the video. You know what to do. Like and subscribe. It helps with the algorithm. It helps with my channel. I appreciate you so much. Please leave a comment. I love hearing from you. I'm working on, this pattern should be uploaded by the end of the week. Should be uploaded by the end of the week. It should be in my Etsy shop under Angela Davis or the 4am Quilter. And I also have a separate shop, just a little shop under the 4amquilter.com. So I hope to have the pattern uploaded by the end of the week. Today is Wednesday, the first week of November. So it's just really enjoyed making the quilt. I hope you enjoy making your own double arch chain. Have a great rest of your week. And as always, stay safe, enjoy your sewing, and remember, why sleep when you can sew? I'm Angela Davis, and I'm the 4am Quilter.